Hello, wrestling fans. So, what do you want to talk about? It's the Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, CW. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to hit that bell on YouTube and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcasting app. I don't want to tell you where to listen to this thing. Just go where you want. But it's easiest on YouTube. Man, it has been a couple of days in the wrestling world. Last time my episode was titled Cody Finished the Original Story. And I was basically admonishing Seth Rollins for even attempting to get Cody in the ring at Wrestlemania. And then things happened between now and then. And The Rock showed up and everyone was going, oh, and then a lot of people went, boo. It was quite funny. Someone had a recording on X or whatever you would call that app. They were recording the whole interaction between Cody and Roman, and The Rock's music hit, and I think everyone on the ground floor cheered and everyone in the rafters just went boo. I don't know. I always think that the real fans of sporting events and wrestling sit really high up. Why? Because wrestling is for the working person, you know, the people who don't have the thousands of dollars to pay for the ground floor seats. So if you listen to the crowd up top during a show, that's kind of what you're gonna, base your wrestling fandom on. Like, that's what the wrestling fans are thinking. So a lot of people were like, nah, Rock, you ain't it. We want Cody. So much so that they had "We Want Cody" signs at Raw last night. And I believe WWE was handing them out. They're leaning into it. They're not shying away from the whole thing. They're holding a press conference on Thursday, as of this recording, to kind of announce who Cody's going to wrestle. They kept him quiet during the night, which was uncharacteristically Cody. Cody's always talking, and he had they just kept interrupting him. They're going to draw it out. The rumors that I read on Cage Side Seats, great website, go check it out, say that the plan is going to be The Rock and Roman, barring any weirdness, because it was part of The Rock's deal to join the TKO board, which is a strange clause to put in a board member seat. Like, yeah, I want to wrestle Roman at WrestleMania. Wrestling is weird, y'all. I love it. It's so goofy. I've met board members of companies, and I've never heard them want to get physical with one of the employees. Oh man, what a weird couple of days. I also saw, this is just going to be a meandering episode of this show. I saw someone compare the last time Roman and Rock were in the ring together to this time, where The Rock was endorsing Roman after his win at Mania or Rumble, I can't remember. And it's that classic picture of Roman looking all happy with his hands raised and Rock holding his wrist and just looking absolutely despondent at the people booing both of them. And now we've come full circle. Now they're in the ring again and people are booing them again. On Raw, they started a Rocky sucks chant, which is extreme. That's not extreme, whatever. It's wrestling. You know what? I think it's fair. You know what? Wrestling fans are passionate, almost too passionate, and they're just reacting to how they see the storyline. The storyline doesn't make sense. Let's put it that way. But Dad's First Time, shout out Dad's First Time, made a very good point. He said WrestleMania is in 8 weeks. You have to give them the chance to make it make sense, and I agree with that too. But the knee-jerk reaction is going to be people don't like it, and that's fair. That's fair to them. That's fair to talk about that on the show, to make your feelings known in the crowd, right? You be respectful, but that Rocky sucks is a classic chant. It was so classic that I think it was Cole who said, is it 1996 again? Which was a great dig at The Rock. I still believe in the booking of Cody winning at Mania, only because the story that they've been telling this whole time has been leading to that, right? They made no qualms about it. He won the Royal Rumble. He stood up on the the top rope, and he pointed at Roman and he said, "You, Roman Reigns, you, I want you," kind of Clubber Lang-esque. And then, 5 days later, he stepped aside for The Rock to wrestle him. Very goofy decision from a storytelling perspective. None of it really makes sense. But again, hopefully they'll make it make sense. But the writers have been written into a corner. I won't even say have written themselves. It sounds like The Rock kind of made this happen outside of the writer's room and outside of Triple H's purview. So now I'm a big proponent of putting parameters around projects so that you know where the boundaries are and you know kind of the playground you're playing in. And now the writers know. They know that the boundary is Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. And they know that Cody has to find a way to become, the biggest babyface and walk past WrestleMania to kind of finish his story some other time. So now they have to write that story. And it's unfair to the fans because we've been clamoring for that. It's been the whole crux of Cody's thing, but wrestling is wrestling. Wrestling is chaos, just like life, and just be along for the ride and see what happens. So I wasn't for Rock versus Roman because, again, I don't think it makes sense for Rock to. I need the motivation. What does The Rock want, right? There has to be a reason he shows up. And if it's the head of the table title or the tribal chief thing, they need to make a spectacle of that, right? They have to keep the title out of it, and they have to make a spectacle of The Rock wanting that head of the table moniker. He wants to take that title from Roman Reigns, right? And maybe that's Cody's plan. He's like, I want you to lose your bloodline because when I wrestle you for the title, I don't want you to have any backup, whatever the case may be. And then The Rock can say he wants that red lay. Maybe he gets it. Roman takes the title and then, loses Solo, loses, what's his name? Jimmy, loses Paul Heyman, and then maybe Cody picks up the scraps. I don't know. I originally, in my mind, booked it that The Rock came out during their match at WrestleMania to keep Solo and Jimmy at bay. He could say, like, one Rock is better than an entire bloodline, and, he clears them out, Cody wins, whatever. Who knows? I don't know what the plan could be, but, WWE writers, they've pulled out miracles before. They've dropped the ball pretty hard before, too. So it could be just, hey, man, you're getting a Rock versus Roman match. It doesn't make sense. Just enjoy the pomp and circumstance and move on. TKO is a business, y'all, and The Rock is one of the biggest stars in the world, and it's gonna draw more eyes to WrestleMania, honestly. So it makes the most sense for them to clash, and Cody's gonna have to take that back seat for a bit. I do think Cody deserves the title. I don't know what Cody's story is with the title, but I'm hoping it all kind of coalesces in a nice way. We have about a minute left. I don't know what else to talk about. Everyone's talking about Cody and Roman, and that was the easiest thing to kick this off with. I maybe I'll do a whole episode about Bayley, but let me kick it off now. Bayley is incredible. Good on Bayley for her face turn at SmackDown, going against Damage Control. I felt for her. I've felt for Bayley for a while in that story where they were kind of snickering behind her back and looking to turn on her. She took matters in her own hands, challenged Io Sky. Like I said, guys, Io Sky was the only one that made sense. Io has been patiently holding that title for Bayley, and you can't argue with me. The only thing she's been doing is holding that title so that Bayley can take it from her at WrestleMania and get her moment. And good on Io Sky for being that person to hold that title. Yeah, we definitely don't have enough time to gush about Bayley, so I'll just leave it there. We'll talk about her in another episode. Thank you so much for listening, guys. What do you think about the whole Cody Roman and Rock story? I fixed it. Let me know in the comments. Thanks again for listening. I appreciate you. And don't you ever forget.
I'm your friend, but if I ever see you in the ring, I can beat you. Don't you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah.